Guys, help me welcome Alex, guys.
All right. Thanks, Isaac. I really appreciate it. If I had your eyes, then maybe I would even be better looking.
Huh?
Yeah, I would be,
my brother says the same thing. He got the height and the handsomeness, but I got the eyes. So,
so I appreciate that. Well, thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. We're all very excited to go to Miami. I will be in Miami as of tomorrow. So if you're there and you want to grab a coffee or something, just let me know. I recently moved to Puerto Rico. I moved in December. So I'm enjoying the island here. If anyone is a crypto surfer, let me know as well.
Crypto surfer.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
We should do that.
But you got to come out to my area, right?
Yeah, we got to go visit Isaac and Isabella. But mainly, I think that I do two things, right? So one thing was an evolution of the other. So I've been teaching at UCLA. We're now in 2022. I started in 2009. This was like a little bit over a decade. And in 2017, when Bitcoin went from 1,000 to 20,000, UCLA wanted to do a blockchain initiative. We were actually like the first maybe 3 or 5 universities around the world to have a blockchain initiative. And I was lucky to be selected the faculty to lead that initiative. Today, we have a certificate at UCLA that it's open to the general public. You don't need to be a UCLA student. And we designed it to compete with like the MIT blockchain certificate and all these like more professional geared certificates. So it's 5 courses and you select 4 and you get certified. And which we think is like an empowering thing because it's so hard to hire people in the space. So if you can get a pool of people that are certified, then that becomes a lot easier.
And Alex, not to interrupt you, but when you say certified, what do you mean by certified?
You got a diploma, right? So you do 4 courses out of the 5, and then you get a UCLA diploma that you can use in job hunting or in your own personal endeavors that tells the world you're certified by UCLA as a blockchain expert. Or someone with a lot of knowledge. I'll give you guys can look it up if you Google UCLA blockchain certificate, but it goes over fundamentals, then governance, collaboration, then there is implementation and adoption of the technology. The other course is around blockchain, IoT, and the Internet of Things and Web3 and how they all interconnect. And one of the 2 courses that I teach the governance and the cryptocurrency one, which was our first course. So, long story short, in 2017, everybody who's here and remember those days, there was a lot of money to be made in ICOs, right? But early on in 2018, the SEC came out and said, no more coin offerings. These are all unregulated securities or potentially unregulated securities. And obviously, as a university, we can only teach students what is regulated. So we went through the rabbit hole of early in 2018 to research how to issue tokens from a regulated perspective. And we ended up creating a course and writing a textbook on it, which I recommend you guys to check it out. We created a code for Crypto Mondays. So either you can buy it for $50 and give the money to Jeff Bezos, or you can get it for free with the Crypto Mondays code.
Thank you. And what was the code?
I think it's, we sent you the code, but it's STO book dash crypto M or something like that.
I'll put it on our all of our social media.
Yeah, our team did it, so I'm sorry, I don't know what the code is. But Isaac, the name of the book is The STO Financial Revolution. You can find it on Amazon, but you can download it for free with the code. Yeah.
And I'll get you guys the code shortly.
Yeah. So then we went through this rabbit hole of identifying how can you issue tokens in different jurisdictions, mainly the US, right? because that's where we started. And how to do that from a regulated institutional point of view, which evolved into the work I do outside UCLA, which is with institutional players in the financial sector that are adopting crypto into their suite of offerings. And that's why the topic here of discussion today is crypto institutional adoption and the future of education. But I personally would like to open to you guys who took the time to come and listen to me for an open discussion on how can we empower Puerto Rico to become a crypto hub of education. And anything that I can do, including donating all our curriculum, which we've done in the past, I already told Annie we would do it. So if you're interested in joining forces, Annie here is like our fearful leader. And you know, I'm willing to help as much as I can and connect as much as possible. But I truly think that it's hard to hire in the space. So if you can build a workforce, the island here can truly be a hub.
Awesome. And well, you already opened it up, so let's open it up to them, and then if I have any more questions, we'll go through. Do we have another mic, George? No. Okay. Hold on. Anybody have questions for Alex? Open discussion.
Nice to meet you. My name is
Very nice to meet you.
Hamir. I'm here from Puerto Rico. So I'm implementing a project. We created like a schedule for bringing developing smart contracts on a university here in Puerto Rico that I used to study. I used to study biomedical engineering. So we're going first to make a boot camp of 6 weeks. Then we're going to create a hackathon, and then we are going to create a job fair. So how would we could implement it like a course on the university?
Sure.
And I'm practicing my English. My first language is Spanish.
Oh, no problem. It's better than my Spanish. So a couple of different things, right? One of the biggest challenges of getting a new course, and especially a new complete subject, into the UC system. Anybody here went to University of California? All right, here we go. UC system.
Got some people.
Yeah, we got people. Got another fellow Bruin there, James. So it's challenging, right? You're dealing with like public education in a large state. So my suggestion was always kind of like make it less technical first, because there's two things, right? One, if everybody who's here sitting in this room doesn't need an education to understand why or what is a smart contract and how decentralized ledger technology works, right? You guys are all neck deep into it, or else you wouldn't be here. But the idea, if you're educating a community or educating students, you want to make it so that the first onboarding aspect is as easy as possible, or is as conceptual as possible. Because if you have a good foundation of understanding how decentralized ledger technology works, what is the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, and then you can grow from that. And a lot of people in the industry, and you know, we can do a test here. How many people in this room knows how to code Solidity? Yeah, very few. But we need executives. We need project managers. We need people that understand the space, that understands what's going in the space. So if you give them a solid foundation, then they can grow into their areas of interest. It might be UX design for new wallets. It might be token economics, right? I had a brilliant student that came out from Germany, took my class, and he was a econ PhD, and his whole idea was like, help me develop a thesis for my PhD that involves token economics, right? And then you start going into rabbit holes that are how many tokens am I going to issue at first? How much is that going to impact my float? How much is that going to be like free flow tokens? How is that going to affect my price? And you start modeling. So there are so many different aspects of crypto, blockchain, and future tech that I think that would really transform the island here. That if you give people the fundamental and they have a solid building block, then they can go into like, I'm interested in coding. Let me deep dive into Solidity, or let me deep dive into whatever Cardano is now doing.
Awesome. Any other questions over here on this side? Questions? Here we go.
Thank you. Hi, I was wondering if you could express what is some of the institutional investors, what are they looking for when they first do one of their first or second projects in the crypto space?
So that's kind of like the story we've been through, right? So in 2017, we started this, and I did a lot of corporate education. So anyone here who has ever sat in a boardroom, people don't like to talk because they don't like to expose themselves, especially in a subject that you don't understand. So that creates like a lot of like silos of information and just like blockages of information. But as soon as they understood what we were talking in the previous question, the foundation, lights, you would see like these executives, like heads of banks would go like, ah, really? So I could do this or I could do that. And more than often, they would ask me like different financial models that they could implement on blockchain. And the constant answer was, yes, you could do it. And the constant feedback in various different financial institutions was like, are you just telling me I could do it because you're the nutty professor that's, you know, evangelizing this? Or can I really do it? And I'm like, well, you could do anything you can do on paper and pen. You're just going to automate that on a decentralized database. So when they understand that, then the kind of restrictions that they have all fall to ground very quickly. And you start seeing these people think about all the things that they previously done and how they can redo them, right? DeFi is a great example of financial trad finance 2021. But what stops them, to answer your question, is regulation, right? And one thing that for us was very clear when we started going around the world and doing this, people in other places would ask, why is everybody waiting for the SEC? Why is the SEC, you know, commanding the space? I'm issuing it out of BVI or Cayman or Singapore. Why do I care about the SEC, right? And the answer is very simple, and it's, to your point, institutional adoption. The SEC oversees the market that runs 40% of equities and bonds globally. So every bank, every brokerage house around the world deals with dollar in one way or another, right? Which by default puts them right under the SEC. So regulatory compliance is what really stops most institutional players to exploring in the space, being comfortable with that regulation compliance. But the United States came a long way from 2018 when this thing started, called security tokens. And it has a very, very clear regulatory framework, which I'm happy to go over if you guys are interested. But you can raise a lot of money in the US doing a compliant token offering.
Awesome. Anybody else?
And what do you mean by compliant token offering? Like, a lot of people say that using the model where tokens are like governance tokens and just claiming there's no, it's not equity, there's no claim on profits, there's no expectation of profits, it's just governance, and it's a governance token, and a lot of the tokens go by this, do you think this, governance token model that people are using will be able to skirt regulation for much longer?
That's a very good question. So, stir regulation is never a good idea in our view, right? You want to trust me. When we started this, like people used to like the really diehard crypto people didn't really like us because we were proponents of regulation, and obviously representing the university, that's the only route we could take. So, in our view, circumventing regulation is not a good idea for you, not a good idea for your family, not a good idea for your investors. So in the US, and sorry for the lecture here, but in the US, you can issue a regulated compliant token offering under the Jobs Act. For those of you not familiar with what the Jobs Act is, it was an amendment by the Obama administration that stands for the jumpstart of our business startups, right? So in that framework, you have two types of tokens. You have what you call the governance token that could be considered a utility token. That utility token most likely should only give you access to something. Like you buy a ticket to a baseball game here in Puerto Rico. But the baseball game is the final and it has more demand than supply and the price goes up, right? That's a function of demand and supply. Your ticket to the baseball game is not a security. On the flip side of that, most tokens have a financial gain component, which in the eyes of the SEC is clearly an investment contract. And if it's an investment contract, you are on the hook. And the bad news, and just to scare people who think they can circumvent regulation, is that securities fraud has no statute of limitations. So they can come after you 5 years, 10 years, 50 years. If you live enough, 100 years, they can come after you. So in the United States, a lot of people are kind of like spend a lot of brain power trying to create a token that's not a security. Very quickly, you can issue a crowdfunding token that you can raise up to $5 million. Very easy, very little paperwork. You can issue a Reg D, 506C or B, depending if you want to market it or not, and raise unlimited amount of money from all the whales that are here in the island and the VCs in the US. Or you can do a Reg A, or most known Reg A Plus, which today allows you to raise $75 million every year from anyone. You could market it on Facebook. You could sell it to like the janitor of your building. So the US has a pretty strong framework to flourish the industry.
Hold on, we can't hear you, guy. You're far back there. We still can't hear you. Oh.
If you're not
what if you're not trying to
raise money,
but
you're just trying to launch a token? Then it's a gift, right? As long as like you're not receiving cash, or the SEC cannot say you are under the Howey test and therefore you're in regulated securities, I would certainly consult legal counsel. I'm not a lawyer. Caveat on video, this is not legal advice, but
or financial.
Yeah, or financial. But you know, if you're just giving it away, you're just giving it away.
I got a question for you.
Sure.
How do you see the importance of the importance of educating the community about these things?
Well, I think it's fundamental, right? Because like we have so much creativity here in Puerto Rico, for example, right? So if
One of the best communities in the world, from what I
yeah, exactly, right? So if you empower people with the foundation of understanding where the industry is evolving, and then they can go into their own creative ways, either being into coding or being into design or being into token economics and financial modeling, or creating content or creating different communities, you allow these people to go through the process of doing it right? And not or potentially not losing money because they're not doing it right, or making a bad decision that would impact themselves and their families in a negative way. Plus, the thing that for me, it's kind of shocking, and I tell this to you guys because, I go around and I do a lot of keynotes. So go around the world and people stop me. They're like, "Oh, you're the professor at UCLA, you're the faculty at UCLA. Can you get me access to students?" I'm like, "Yes, like certainly can get you access, but students don't want you." Then people look at me kind of puzzled, and I'm like, "Dude, they don't want me?" Like when I was at college, all I wanted was a job, right? I'm sure like everyone here kind of remember that time. Like, please give me a job. Students that know how to code Solidity or have a deep understanding of the space are making $200 an hour from their college dorm room. Do you think they want to work on kind of like an internship? Right? You could really empower an entire community out here.
Awesome. So that leads to my next question before we close out. Everybody who knows me or my brother knows how big we are on impacting Puerto Rico. What do you plan to do to help do your part on impacting Puerto Rico?
Well, from the point of view that I think I can contribute the most, we have been starting conversations with Annie, who has been leading the efforts.
Annie
in connecting.
Mustafa.
Yeah.
Home is Puerto Rico. Big shout out.
Please
That
connect
deserves
with Annie.
a clap, for
Yeah.
sure.
Please reach out to Annie if you would like to join forces with us. On my side, I think that what I can contribute the most is helping structure these curriculums, because it's what we did at UCLA from the ground up, and distributing them across different universities around here so that more and more people can get access to the basics, right? Or at least the basics, because a lot of like what we learned, I learned, you guys learned was like on YouTube videos and on curiosity. Especially myself, like I knew what blockchain was, and I knew in 2017 areas of blockchain, but it was far away from knowing enough to teach someone. So you start researching and finding out like what you don't know and how to explain it. So that's at least my pledge to Puerto Rico as a new resident here, is to do as much as I can to disseminate this at least foundational educational effort.
Which that's big. It
pleasure.
really is big. And thank you for that. Thank you for offering your services to, because I seen you offer your services freely. So that's amazing. Thank you.
No, my pleasure. My pleasure.
That deserves a hand clap too, guys. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna leave some time for networking. We're gonna hopefully see everyone in Miami this week and next week. There's a lot of great things going on. Actually, my brother's speaking at Michael Turpin's thing, I think on the 10th in Miami, Blockchain 2022. There's a lot of great people that are going to be in Miami this week. It's going to be amazing. So if you guys are in Miami, if you're going, hit me up, hit Alex up. There's so much of our community here in San Juan that's going to be out there. It's going to be like a little mini Puerto Rican party in Miami. Yeah. So we're
Look forward to that.
Yeah, we're going to invade the Cubans. Yeah. That was a joke. No. You have to be Puerto Rican to get that one, but listen, there is a gentleman here though that's not in Miami that I want to talk to you guys about real quick. I want him to come up and explain what his Bitcoin Cafe is, because this guy's got some great stuff going on. Anthony, would you come up here real quick? I'm going to put you on the spot here real quick. Yeah. Let us know a little bit about. This is Anthony, guys. This is his company, Bitcoin Cafe.
Yeah. So I just started this last year. It's a Bitcoin Cafe. I'm looking for a location, hopefully. Right now, I'm just selling online.
Speak into the mic.
Right now, I'm just selling online, but eventually, I'm going to open up a small cafe here somewhere in Puerto Rico. It's 100% Puerto Rican coffee. It's from single origin from Ajuntas, Puerto Rico.
Good coffee.
It's really good coffee. So just ask around, and appreciate it if you give me a follow.
How can they get in contact with you, Ian?
They can go bitcoincafe.tech. You could go online to order anything. We have shirts, the coffee as well. You could follow us on Instagram, Bitcoin Cafe 21, or on Twitter as well.
Awesome. Oh,
yes.
Now, you're gonna have to get with him after to talk about the menu.
Appreciate
Decaf, espresso. What do you got, man?
No decaf,
You
I'm
got the
sorry.
good stuff.
No decaf.
Awesome.
If you're in crypto, no decaf.
No decaf. No, we want to go 100%. I just thought it was really cool, man. That this is a Puerto Rican product that's coming out of and is incorporated in crypto also, and it's great to have our local. Puerto Rican companies that are rising up out of Puerto Rico on blast, man. We need that. We need to impact Puerto Rico as a whole. You know, if you're not impacting Puerto Rico, I always say it all the time, man. What are you doing here? You know, go to Wyoming. You know what I mean? Go somewhere else. You know what I mean? We're here to impact the island, and we got to do it together because one person can't do it by themselves. You know, thanks a lot, guys, for coming out tonight. Let's have fun. Let's network. Let's get to know one another, and let's build something beautiful for the island.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you, brother.